We're talking about content and clients today. We all know that content needs to be part of your marketing plan, but it also needs to be eye-catching, relevant, and what your audience is craving or looking for. I mean, great content can lead to more leads, which, leads to more sales, right? And we all want more sales. But pushing out content just to say that you posted is not a strategy. As a matter of fact, if that's what you're doing, if you're just posting content because you think you need to, just stop. Stop right now and join us for my special show today with Amanda Webb, all the way from Ireland. I'm super excited to have Amanda on the show today, as she is going to drop 3 bite-sized tips on how you need to create content and get more clients with specific content. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Fain Brandt, Chief Inspiration Officer at the LinkedIn Bakery. And as I said, today's guest is Amanda Webb of Spiderworking. I want to know how she came up with that name. And she's joining us from Ireland, which was my travel destination in April, but we all know what happened to that. Thanks, Corona. So anyways, you guys, if you're catching the replay, we want to know that you were watching. So just type in #replay and Amanda and I will go back and answer any of the questions that you might have. So today we're going to talk about content and that it always needs to have a purpose, AKA strategy. What you need to know to get to know, you need to get to know your audience, because you need to have content that's just for your specific audience. And you need to know where your sales come from. This is very critical in when you're creating your content. So let's welcome Amanda to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you on the show. You know, let's give some context to you, your business, and how we met. I think that I actually was almost stalking you at Social Media Marketing World 3 years ago, because you were from Ireland. And I was on a mission to meet people from Ireland, because I was planning, we were talking about doing our big trip to Ireland and Scotland, like a 3-week journey over there. And you gave me great insight, told me where to stay, actually when to come, right? And we had that huge trip plan for this year. And we all know what happened.
I know. The last time I saw you in person, we were looking forward to meeting up in Ireland. It's so sad.
I know. And I met other people from Ireland, and we were actually going to do LinkedIn Local Dublin. And I was going to be there, and I was going to help promote it. And it was just going to be amazing. And then we all know what happened. But
yeah.
Anyway, so what time is it for you right now in Ireland?
It is 7 p.m. in the evening, so I should be just finishing off my working day. I usually finish working at 7, so.
Well, thank you for extending your work time just a little bit. I appreciate that.
I'd love to be here. I love being on your show. How could I say no?
Aw, thank you. And I realized that I've never asked you how you came up with your business name, Spiderworking.
I really need to make up a good story for this, because there isn't a good story. I was looking for a business name. My second name is Webb. So I was looking for a business name. I wanted to get a .com rather than a .ie, because I saw it expanding internationally. And the first name I came up with is the one I'm really glad I didn't go with,
which is
WebNet. How boring is that?
Up with your business names. Spiderworking.
WebNet was bad. I couldn't get the .com. Thankfully, I couldn't get the .com. So I stayed up all night on one of those, places you can type in and see if you can get a .com. And I went from Web to Spider and to Spiderworking as part of social networking. So Spiderworking.com. That's where it came from. But I need a better story. I think I need a better story, don't you?
We can work on that after the show. We can come up with something really snazzy. But I always like to ask people how they come up with their business name. Because a lot of times, and there is a story there. You were, Spiderweb, WebNet, so I love it. So how long have you been in business? Let's give our audience a little context to, how long you've been in business and why I chose you to come on the show. Besides that, you're amazing. You're from Ireland. I love working with you at Social Media Marketing World. You're also an expert in content marketing.
Yes, that's what I do. I've been doing it for 11 years this September. So it's just what I do now. It's kind of like in my blood. So I probably have made all the mistakes that every single business watching has made or is going to make. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some advice on how you can avoid those mistakes, how you can save time, because I've wasted a lot of time on my digital marketing as well, and how you can be more streamlined with what you do.
I love that. We all need to save time. I hate wasting time when there's always, if you have a process and if you understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then come up with a process, that's when I feel like you really can start saving time. So let's start. You've got 3 great tips that you're going to share with our audience today. And I love that tip number 1 is content needs to have a purpose. And I can say when I first started off 6 years ago, I was guilty of posting just to post. I thought I had to post every day and I had to be on every platform. And I would get up, and this was before I had like a scheduler when I was first starting off, and I'd get up really early. I'd tell my husband, oh my gosh, I got to go post on all the platforms, right? It was ridiculous how stressed out I was. It was ridiculous some of the stuff that I was posting, okay? Like if I were to go back, I would laugh. Like I'll post some fun things in between, but it was just trying to get content out every day and it had no purpose. So tell us how to create content with a purpose and why we need to do that.
Well, first up, I did that too. So you're not alone.
Everyone does.
I think, when social media was new and we were all finding our way around, we made a lot of mistakes. And not having a purpose doesn't mean to sell. It doesn't mean every single post is a sales post trying to sell something that you have. You certainly need sales posts, because if you don't have sales posts, people don't know what you do. But you need to have posts that are going to attract your audience. So that's what I mean by a purpose. When you're putting a post out, what is the goal of that piece of content? Is it to attract an audience of the right kind of people? Or is it to engage that audience so that you can bring them one level closer to working with you? Or is it to sell to those people? Is it to get them to sign up for a mailing list? Is it to get a bit more brand awareness? So when you're putting your content plan together, think about that. Now, I've talked about the fact that I used to waste a lot of time. It's not really wasted time because it was all learning, but I used to blog a lot. But none of that, all that content was about social media. It was social media tips. I got massive traffic to my website, but very little of it was converting because it wasn't related to the specific product offerings that I have. So now I get a lot less traffic, but I also get a lot more leads because I'm focusing on the specific things I sell and how I can get the right people into my website. So I think that's important. I know your audience, Mary. I know if they're watching this show, they're very smart.
Yes.
They're very smart.
And they want to save time.
And you also know it's not about having massive numbers anymore.
No.
Like I said, with my website, I was getting massive traffic, but unless that's doing something, there's no point. You can have thousands and thousands of Instagram followers, but if they don't know what your business does, or if they're the wrong followers, if they're just another bunch of this for me and you, it's probably big, of other social media marketers.
The wrong followers. I always tell people, there are some people that brag on LinkedIn like, oh, I've got 30,000 connections and 20,000 followers. I'm like, that's great. To me, that's a vanity metric. And why I want to have a good size audience, I would rather have 10,000 followers and cap it at that and have a 50% engagement rate, right? Because not everybody is your ideal client or, not just client, but brand ambassador, referral partner, somebody you want to collaborate with. And so I think we're kind of pulling back the reins of those vanity numbers. And it's more important to have quality connections, strategic connections. And if you have that, then you want to have strategic content and quality content, right?
Absolutely. And just an exercise for people to do is the next time that you go onto LinkedIn and you're scrolling through the feed, look at the description, the one-liner that people have about what they do. What does that say? Is that actually somebody that fits into your target market? Or in my case, there's an awful lot of digital marketers there that I'm happy to be connected to, but I also need to make sure that I'm connecting to people who are small businesses, are startups that need my help. So I think that's a really good cue. You can do that right away. Just have a quick scroll, unless you're watching this show on LinkedIn.
Yeah, if you're watching this show, stay right here. Do that afterwards. Thank you. We don't want to lose you. We have some more great tips coming up.
Exactly. But you're right about the content. Once you've got the right people, you can make sure that you've got content that's going to engage them, like you were talking about, and make sure they remember you, and then you can try and sell to them.
Right. I think it's really important. Like, I know my target audience, it's job seekers, right? Because I'm a career coach. That's what I started off my business. And that, pivoted into being a LinkedIn strategist for entrepreneurs and business owners. LinkedIn is probably the foundation of my training, but it's job seekers, small business owners, and entrepreneurs. So my content is driven or created just for them, things that they're looking for. And a lot of times it's like, oh, if I was a business owner, I'd want to know that. Or as an entrepreneur, I wish I'd known about this tool, so I'll share that kind of information. So it is really important. And when I first started, I don't know about you, Amanda, but I actually hired a coach really early on, which I shouldn't have, because I didn't even know what I wanted to do quite yet. But he did teach me this, that I needed to niche down in my audience. As a career coach, I can't serve everyone, and not everyone is my ideal audience. So back then it was women. I just wanted to serve women. That's who I can relate to. I can understand their pain and help them through, trying to find a new job. So that is when I got more specific in my messaging and my content. And that's when I started attracting the people that I want to work with. Funny how that works if you can niche down, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is, I think it's really important. Audience of that we say niche, you say niche, it's so weird. Small audience, a niche audience like that of the right people is perfect.
That really segues into you need to know your audience. And so are there certain ways that you know your audience? I'd love for you to share that with our audience.
So I'm business to business, so it's a little bit easier. I do big exercises with people where we work really into the nitty gritty of people, but you don't actually need to know everything about your audience. You just need to understand their pain points. So if you can have different segments of your audience, really, for me, it's small businesses. And like you, Mary, I very much know the struggle small businesses have. I had a small business previous to this. I understand the strains on time and spending budget. I understand, that panic that no sales are coming in and what am I going to do? I understand the fact that you sometimes don't have any family time. So that gave me a perfect starting point. So small businesses, well, when I say small, they usually have a few employees. They may have more than 1 or 2 people in management, but still small enough that they need some outside help to throw them in the right direction. And very often,
they don't actually have a marketing department or an in-house trainer. So a small business,
they might have one person.
Yeah, a small business,
but not a department.
It doesn't mean just 2 or 3 people. It can mean, in my opinion, in my view, small business could actually be up to 50 people. They just don't, have a dedicated marketing team, trainer, speaker, whatever service that you're providing.
Absolutely. And that's where I might come in and work with the business owner if they're doing the marketing, which happens an awful lot. And the problem with that is they've so much else to do. How do you squeeze it in? So that's my job, is to have something that is actually a structure that's leading to sales. So very often they have, they have a chat bot, and they have Facebook, and they have Twitter, and they have LinkedIn and Instagram. They may even, against my advice, have started out on TikTok, but they're not doing any of it right. And this is why it's against my advice. They've got a really poor Instagram account and they started on TikTok. It's like, let's get get those ducks in the row. Let's cut away all the things that you don't need to do and focus maybe on one or two things, or one really strong piece of content that you're going to create every week or every month that is going to funnel people into your sales process. And then let's look at that process and make sure every step on the way is really simple for people to complete, so it's very easy for them to make sales from you.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So, you know, when I started off, I did accounts on all the friggin' platforms, and I still have accounts on a multitude of platforms, but I really, you know, for me, it's LinkedIn, business to business.
Like,
right?
I have a TikTok. I'm not against TikTok. I love TikTok, but it's for fun.
Right. And I don't have TikTok. I never got Snapchat, Periscope. I have Facebook and LinkedIn are the two that I engage and I'm most active on. I do have Instagram and Twitter. And if Christine Gritman is watching, she's always on Twitter and she'll comment on something and it'll be like 5 days before I get back, because I'm awful at engaging on Instagram and Twitter, right? It's not, I have it, but I don't really use it for business. So sometimes I think I should just delete those channels if I'm not engaging. I don't know. Something I'm going to think about this year.
Think about that.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't do an engagement over there, but people can still see, you know, some people are on Twitter and Instagram and not LinkedIn. So maybe it's right for me to stay over there. So we talked about content always needing to have a purpose and a call to action. If it doesn't always have to be sales, it could be a question, right? Like, hey, what do you think about this article?
Yeah, engagement.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all about getting somebody to do something, because if they engage with you at all, that's one little memory point for them. And the more memory points you can build up in their head, the more they're going to remember you when they need you. So every little engagement that you can get out of people. So don't worry if it's the same people, as long as it's not one person. But you will find that you have a group of maybe 20 people that do all the engaging. They're the ones that are either going to become customers or tell someone else about you. So don't worry too much about that.
Those can become your brand ambassadors. That's what I call it. You know, your fans. You know, your fans are your brand ambassadors. I like that, memory points. Yeah, so it's not always about the call to action. I think a lot of people get that confused with driving them to a landing page, selling them your course, having them sign up. Those are call to actions, but those are sales call to actions. Other calls of actions can just be answering a question, a poll, asking them what book they're reading, or, you know, what are their favorite podcasts, just getting engagement. And I think that we have to remember that as business owners, that engagement isn't always the goal isn't always driving someone to a sales page. Yeah,
that'll all happen as part of your process, but not with every single post. Absolutely.
Every post. Yeah. So thank you. So we talked about, you know, content having a purpose. We talked about knowing your audience, and that you don't need to know, you know, a lot of people do those deep dives, like, where do they hang out?
That's
what kind of coffee do they drink? I'm like, I don't know.
I think the best way is to survey your existing customers, or get on the phone with a few of your best customers and just like have a chat to them, find out what brought them to you in the first place. If you can figure that out, then you can start putting content out about those problems. What was it that spurred them, that sparked them to go, I need, in my case, digital marketing strategy, or I need dog walking, or I need a map island. Just, you know, what is it that made people think that? So, you know, rather than doing all that heavy research, and, you know, people just guess that stuff as well. They go, oh, well, their name is Mary and they drink coffee and they live in San Diego and they like Bloody Marys. But that doesn't work really, because you have to actually the answers to that, and of course not everyone's going to fit into that one person.
I agree. And I like that reaching out to maybe your top 5 past clients and colleagues too. I find that some of them have groups in common. You know, they're in the same group, whether it's a in-person group or a workspace, like 𝙬𝙬 in San Diego is a collaborative workspace, or Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups. Well, let's not do LinkedIn groups. They're not very useful yet. Gotta be honest. Gotta keep it real, folks. But yeah, you know what I mean. They're just there.
I know exactly what you mean. I just closed mine actually after about, I think I've had it for 10 years, had hundreds of people in there, but it was tumbleweed. And I just went, no, if I'm doing a group, I'm going to start from fresh.
Good for you. Sometimes you got to do that. So getting to know your audience. And then your last tip for our audience today is, and this is a biggie and something that I'm working on with my branding person right now, you got to know where your sales come from. So do you want to explain, what do you mean by that? And how do we figure that out?
So look at the data, get into your Google Analytics, go in there and look at where the traffic's coming from your website. You can do technical things, set up goals in your Google Analytics. If you Google it, it's really simple to do. If you're an e-commerce business, all the much better, because most e-commerce platforms automatically integrate, and you'll be able to see that a certain number of sales or a certain number of people that filled in a form on your website came from a specific social network. So that's your first thing, because that's your digital end. Then look at, where phone calls are coming from emails. So you're getting DMs on specific platforms. Where are customers coming from? And then something that's really interesting when I did this myself at the beginning of the year was I noticed that every single customer I was getting, so I don't need a ton of customers. I'm only looking for between 12 and 20 a year. So I don't need a lot. But every single person who was becoming a customer watched my Facebook live show. And that may have been the first contact with me, or that may have just been a step towards them doing business with me. So that is what I call funnel content. People watch that show, get to know me. And because it's this face-to-face thing, like you can see me now, they feel like they know me a little bit. They feel like they know whether I am the sort of person they want to work with, or maybe this doesn't suit them. So by the time they come to me, they've almost made that decision already. They feel like they know me. When we're having that one-to-one conversation, it's not a cold call. So that's what I discovered. And because of that, I've really ramped up my Facebook Live. I'm spending a lot more time planning it, the best show I can. And I'm also repurposing it. So that's pushing me out on its content for Twitter, which isn't one of my key social networks, but actually it's performing well for me on Twitter. I'm pushing it out on LinkedIn, as well as it going out on Facebook. There's daily videos that go out. There's a blog post. There's a new part to my newsletter. There's a weekly newsletter promoting the Facebook Live, and there's a PDF download every week in that content.
That's called strategy.
More leads are coming in, because that was the top of the funnel. Facebook Live, interestingly, bottom of the funnel. People get in contact with me through LinkedIn after watching my Facebook Live more than the other social networks.
You know why?
To book a call.
They're going over there to check you out. And so you have a robust profile. You filled it all out. You've checked all the boxes. So when I see someone on a different platform, I go straight to LinkedIn. Who is this person? Because on LinkedIn, there's so much real estate. I call it real estate. You can fill out all the sections. You can put media and content up. And so I go there and I can learn more about a person. I can see what kind of content are they posting? What kind of content are they commenting on and sharing? And so I always go there to check somebody else. So get your LinkedIn profiles updated, folks.
Absolutely. Even without doing much on LinkedIn, I get a lot of leads through it. So my plan 2020, which I'm beginning to implement now, because I've never loved LinkedIn. I'm sorry, I've never loved LinkedIn, but my plan is to become more active on LinkedIn. So that is not just posting content, which is what I'm doing at the moment. It's actually going out and being proactive and talking to the people that I'm connected to in my target market. So you'll be proud of me, Mary.
I'll be very proud. And if you're not in my group, I want to make sure that you join the LinkedIn Bakery so we can support you. Right? And we'll have some challenges, some LinkedIn challenges coming up, a 5-day LinkedIn challenge. And I think you'd be perfect for that, Amanda. Get you going.
Yeah.
Well, man, so any last tips? I try to keep the shows to 30 minutes to respect everyone's time. And again, my content is bite-sized tips, so we want to keep it to 30 minutes. Any other last-minute tips if someone is struggling with content? Where do you, I do look at other platforms sometimes, or I get ideas from other people. Is that okay to be inspired by other people?
I think, and this is a tip I got from Andrew and Pete, which I'm sure some of your
I love Andrew and Pete.
It's to look for inspiration outside your own industry. So what are other people doing, rather than being a clone of somebody else in your industry? Just find innovative ways to implement what people are doing in other industries. So I know Andrew and Pete, this made me laugh so much. They launched a conference 2 years ago, and it was after the Fire Festival that they launched this conference. You know what they did? They got in touch with a lot of people, and they got us all to post a pink tile at the same
I remember that.
on Instagram. And when they told me what they were doing, I cracked up. It was so funny. But also, to a lot of people, you know, it works. It worked for Fire, right? But also there's that little in-joke that, look, hey, this isn't going to be Fire, but we all trust Andrew and Pete. It's going to be fine. I thought that was really clever.
I like that.
That was really good.
Yeah, I like that.
That's one example. And yeah, a lot of, like, I've got doing lots of creative things. I always like to mention, it's actually, and because I know you're into Ireland, you're going to like this one. I think you met Kate, first social media marketer. She runs a national pet sitting business in Ireland. And every year she runs a competition called the Nose of 𝙬𝙬. Now, the Rose of 𝙬𝙬 is a famous competition in Ireland where it's not a beauty contest, but it is women in dresses. But, you know, you can be ugly and win the Rose of 𝙬𝙬. So
you heard it right here on the show. You can be ugly and win the competition. I'm signing up.
Exactly. As long as you wear a dress, it's fine. You've got a special talent. So they have this competition. It's a bit twee. It's a bit of it's a joke, but it's not a joke. And it happens every year in Ireland. It's one of the biggest things. It didn't happen this year because of obvious reasons. But for the last, I think it's 7 years this year, she's been running this pet competition at the same time called the Nose of 𝙬𝙬. So instead of each county having a beautiful or ugly woman, doesn't matter, representing them, every county has a dog or a cat or a rabbit, or I think she's got some pigs this year, a pet representing them. And at the end, so it's really clever because it's bouncing off the Rose of 𝙬𝙬 idea.
That is genius.
Doing incredible. This year, it's obviously because I guess people are home with their pets more. She's doing even better than all the other years when the Rose of 𝙬𝙬 was actually winning. So I love that example. She's a genius. So if you look, I think it's noseof𝙬𝙬.com.
I'm so going to go look that up right now. That's amazing. I love that idea, looking outside your industry of what people are doing. And is there a way for you to take that concept or idea, make it your own and specific for your business, for your industry? That is a pro tip that we are going to share out. I just want to say hi to Betsy. She was joining us, and I think that she's taking off. Thank you, Betsy, for joining us today. Amanda, that tip was amazing. I love that one. So I've got one final question before we wrap up, and it's the question that I'm asking all my guests now, and you'll understand why. Where's the first place you're going to travel to when we're off of lockdown and it's safe to go somewhere?
Fingers crossed, right? I've got my fingers crossed because we have a travel issue between my country and your country at the moment. But fingers crossed, San Diego, end of February, the social media marketing world. I'm just so hoping that I'll be able to travel there.
I'm hoping that they actually have the conference. I'm hoping
hopefully
that they have the conference. But you know, when you come to San Diego, I'm planning the dinner. That's my thing. I'm planning the dinner for everyone who comes into town from social media marketing world, and the special lunches that are only for people with accents, as we know. You must have an accent to attend my lunch before the conference. It's a silly thing that we started. You have an accent to me.
You have an accent to me.
That's true. I do, huh? Oh my gosh, I so miss you. I'm so glad that we did this. And definitely I want to help you with LinkedIn. So I want you to join the group, and anyone else that just wants to make sure that they're on top of all the latest strategies and the new features that LinkedIn's always rolling out, please join my free Facebook group. It's called The LinkedIn Bakery. Every Friday, we accept the new members. So join that group, and we have special like LinkedIn challenges in that group that are really going to help you understand how to post, when to post, and how to engage with other people, even outside your industry. Because the number one thing people tell me is, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to engage. So we practice that. And practice just makes it easier, and it becomes a habit. So I'd love for you guys to join, because we are going to kick off, I think in August, a LinkedIn 5-day challenge. And there's some prep work for that. Also, you guys, I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mary Fain Brandt Coaching and Consulting. As we all know, YouTube is part of our marketing plan in 2020. So that is a channel that I am looking to grow. And Amanda, where do you want people to connect with you and to learn more about you?
I would love, I hope this is around the right way for you. Spiderworking.com/festive. Now that is a very basic landing page. And I am running a masterclass, a free masterclass on the 11th of August on building your Christmas marketing strategy. So I would love if you signed up there.
I think I'm going to sign up. I think I'm going to sign up for that because you guys, you might think August, I don't need to think about Christmas yet, but you are so right. We have got to strategize. So I already know some things that I have in mind for, you've got it right, for a holiday promotion to help my job seekers and actually the recent graduates, those that are graduating. So I'm going to join your masterclass and I'm going to learn from you. This is going to be awesome.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And it is just pre-registration at the moment. So we just pre-launched. So we're not launching till next week. So you're one of the first to know about it.
And you heard it here first on Bite-Sized Tips for Busy Entrepreneurs with Mary Fain Brandt and, I always do this wrong, Amanda Webb. I always try to point and it's always the wrong way.
Me too.
So you guys, if you have any other questions, please just reach out to Amanda or myself. And thank you for offering that class to our audience today. I'm super excited to do that and to have you join the 5-day LinkedIn challenge that will be coming up in August. So y'all have a great day. Thank you for extending your work day for us over here in the States. I love you, girl. I can't wait to see you in person. But in the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe. Take care, everyone.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.